This is the Simpit. I'm your host, Sean, and welcome to today's edition of the Pit Stop. Wow, I'm tongue-tied a little bit, where we talk about today's sim racing news. I just looked at the description of the show, and I have yesterday's date. For some reason, that didn't take when I did my update, but today is Tuesday, October 17th, and we have a little bit of sim racing news to cover. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining the stream, and thank you for being part of the pit crew and chiming in with your opinions and your thoughts on today's sim racing news. In this show, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m., we're just kind of covering what's going on in sim racing, giving you any detailed thought that we have, and then moving right along so we can get down to doing some sim racing. So let's move on to the news. Let me grab my keyboard here and bring up what we have to talk about today. And we're going to talk about that image. I saw a few of you questioning what was going on with that image, and we're going to get up to that, and we'll talk about that a little bit. Today is the day. Gran Turismo, GT Sport. I am waiting for Brown Santa, as I call him, or the UPS driver, to deliver my copy. And I'm so upset, because I was supposed to have this days ago, and once again, for some reason, Port Hueneme is off the beaten path, and I don't have my copy yet. So I might have to run to the store and buy it just to make sure I'm playing today like everybody else. And I know some of you already out there are playing. So what are your thoughts? How is it? Was the demo a good representation of what we were getting? Is the full version of the game better? You know, what's going on with the game? Is it light on content, and is that frustrating? Is the racing experience that much stronger so that you kind of look the other way when it comes to the content? Gran Turismo Sport, GT Sport, is absolutely a different take on the series than Polyphony, Sony have ever done with Gran Turismo before. So I really have to ask, is this in the direction you'd like to see? Is this on par with what you'd expect from Gran Turismo? Have they gone the right or the wrong direction? I'm really interested to know what you guys think about that. Tom, there are always technical difficulties at Cole Manor for some reason. I'm not sure. And you're waiting on the helmet, Sean. I believe, look, I've healed nicely. A couple more days, it'll be fine. Luckily, I do heal well and quickly and nicely, so I'm not that worried about it. But again, bump your head with a lack of hair, and it always ends up cutting you. El Bucho, don't send it back just yet. We're going to talk about that. In fact, let me jump ahead. That is probably the biggest story of the day. I have not been able to confirm this, but there's a new driver out, number 293, and this is for the CSL. And this supposedly has support for GT Sport. I have not fired it up. I have not tested that yet. If somebody out there wants to run it, try it out, maybe you can get us an answer before the end of the show. That would be even more fantastic, not to put the burden on you. But this is the little bird out there in the world told me that this new Fanatic 293 driver actually does support GT Sport. Now, I have not seen that officially released from Fanatic, so if you go to their blog, where you'll usually find their fastest, latest news, they still have the apology telling you that it doesn't. But I think we now have that support, and I'm crossing my fingers. I think today is Thomas's birthday, so happy birthday to Thomas Jägermeyer of Fanatic, and hopefully this will be a very good birthday present to him. So, I have one in the Netherlands. I do. Let's bring up the pit stop map. The Netherlands, we've got a bunch of you guys up here in this region. So if you give me a city specific, I will try to get it in there even more. AJ, you're on a tear on the oval side in iRacing. Very, very well. Tom, yeah, Max is always chewing cords. Luckily, he does not chew cords. Anyway, that could be very, very good news from Fanatic. And a lot of people are upset that this was not working, and now we might be working. Yeah, El Bucho, if you can find out, I'd be thrilled. I'll try to find out myself and confirm that. I found out about it just before the show, and again, you're not going to find that news anywhere. This is a little bird story that I heard on the grapevine, so to speak. So, not on NL. I will make sure it's there. Denmark, I will make sure we get some more on there for you guys, for sure. Near Amsterdam. Okay, so you're not very far from Rudy. Rudy was just north of Amsterdam, I believe. Rochester, New York, we'll add one there. Nova Scotia, Canada. Awesome. Awesome. Netherlands, North Brabant. Okay. So moving on, yesterday I talked about iRacing and the GRC coming in, and they announced that it will be there by the end of the year, and it is already October, so there's not much more of the year left to go, so it is coming fairly soon. Hello, Brazil. Hello, Dutch Castricum at the North Sea. Very cool. I'm getting a geography lesson just being able to do that. Anyway, what I did want to talk about, let me go ahead and pull up the video. There are some cool images that I didn't show yesterday. So, Rallycross will be fun. It will bring in new members, new viewers, and that is very cool. One other thing that I did notice is that the VW Bug, the rally car that Scott Speed actually drives, will be free. So you will not have to. And it looks like all the tracks are at existing venues. I don't know 100%. I believe the tracks are just being thrown in. I don't know. I can't confirm that. I will try to get you that answer maybe by tomorrow. But I have to tell you, I've driven these, and they are fun. They are really fun. And iRacing, if you've driven their dirt side of things, their dirt has some great physics. I've heard from a lot of people who drive late models and various different dirt cars and have told me that it is just spot on. People who drive the street stock, iRacing's really good with dirt. They spent a lot of time getting it right, and that played out well because you can now run Rallycross, or will be very, very soon. And again, the Beetle will be free, so that's good. You're going to have to buy the Fiesta, so it'll be a 50-50 thing for now. But Scott Speed was a lot involved, did a lot of testing. I've seen his name on iRacing a lot recently, where he was also talking about, I guess Kubica has been out there running with him. So that's been a big story in the forums talking about iRacing. Anyway, something I am very looking forward to. I believe we're going to have heat races and other things coming along with it. So there should be some pretty good changes to iRacing, you know. And again, it's going to come at a cost. You're going to have to buy that Fiesta. I'll happily drive the Beetle for free, at least to get things going. Moving right along, Project Cars. They put out a cool video, and this is something they're doing internally. And this is their episode 1 on assist. So this is through Project Cars. They've got Yorkie, I'm assuming that's one of their very known game players, who's giving a little insider's guide to in-game assists. What they do, how they affect the game, and what you might want to or not want to be using. So, anyway, just more coming from Project Cars 2, as you would expect with it being a new sim and all. GT3 pack is now available for R-Factor 2. So I've driven the McLaren. That's the car they were using, the world's fastest gamer competition. We've got the Bentley, which is the new, I was going to use a bad word there, the most used car right now. I'm seeing this car popping up in just about every single game at this point. So individual cars go for $5.89 a piece. And you can buy the entire GT3 pack with all 5 cars for $17.67. And this is adding to R-Factor 2, which, let's face it, I've mentioned it recently, they are really, really starting to crank things out. Ever since Studio 397 joined in, we've seen massive updates to the game. We've seen content added to the game. We've seen the move going towards DirectX 11 and bringing a lot of those animations and effects that we expect in a modern sim. R-Factor 1 took years of development to get it to its prime. R-Factor 2 is on the same curve. And I think in 2018 that we're going to be talking a lot more about R-Factor 2 than we have in the past. So, anyway, that's my take there on R-Factor. Moving on, we did talk about Fanatic, and that takes me to my final news story, which is the photo image. I talked about this last week. Tomorrow night, Rick Motuck is doing an open house at their shop. And they're allowing people come in. So if you're in Florida, if you're in southern Florida, they're down in Miami Lakes, Florida, you can go by the shop, try out all their gear, hang out. They're going to have a cool party. I'm assuming some maybe food and drinks. I know they're going to be doing some sim racing. And they're going to be doing some competitions where you can win some prizes, including, and I don't have the details, still waiting on them. I'm going to be there, so at 3 p.m. for me, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. I don't know exactly when the racing's going on. That's what I'll try to have for you on tomorrow morning's show. But if you want to do some online racing with them, they are going to have a prize for the online racing group as well. So I'll probably do that for the fun of it, at least until we get away and do our setup shop for beginners and attack the track for Sim Racing System series. So, okay, Spatial, you have a good one, buddy. And John, I would expect them to do that as well. Multiplayer is a very, very high demand in today's sim racing world. People want multiplayer, they expect it, and it should be fairly easy. Dennis, I am, as much as I want to call myself a real sim racer, I'm not a sim racist. I think Gran Turismo is a wonderful sim, always has been. It is the reason so many of us are here, and I would never take away from what it is and who it's made for. So no, I don't know if I'm going to review it in VR or not. That's sort of a two-part deal. I will be reviewing Gran Turismo for sure. Oh, too bad. The big one, you're in the room. So that takes me to my next topic, which is our Sim Racing Systems Simpit Historic Series. And here's the schedule that we have up. I need a better graphic than this, but it does show the season schedule. We are running the Ferrari 312. This week we're at Spa. Last week we're at Zandvoort. I right now am on the fence. I have been struggling with the shifter, and it is taking away from my lap times and my ability. And I am really contemplating going back to paddle shifters. I went to paddle shifters and instantly cut a second off my time and didn't have to think about gearboxes. And man, is it tempting for me to just make that change permanently. Still debating that. But one thing I did want to tell you about, and this is so cool, is Dennis, the big one, actually set up a server for us. So if you go to Assetto Corsa, go to online mode, type in Simpit. Let me zoom this in a little bit more. Oops. Zoom this in a little more. If you go in there and you type in Simpit into the description, you will find the Simpit Historic SRS Series practice server. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, the big one. He set this up so that we'd always have somewhere to practice and get ready for the race. And this car is a handful, and setup is a handful. So when I do setup shop, I will host it out of this room, and we will have practices going on. I was in there last night just playing around. But if you're struggling, you need help, or you just want to get involved in the series and make sure everything's going well, come check out the practice. It's running all the time. Different time zones will have an opportunity to get in and check it out. And the racing has been very fun. So that is pretty much it on that topic. Last thing I'm going to bring up just one more time. If you haven't already, I will add the link to the description of this show. It's on the Facebook page for the Simpit as well. It's also at the Simpit website. This is a link. This image takes you to the poll that we're doing. We have 250 people have now chimed in on the poll, trying to get some good answers on the best sim for each category of sim racing. Graphics, physics, racing aspects, sounds, the works. That way we can really make the perfect sim pizza is my way of referring to it. So if you haven't done that poll already, I'd really appreciate you doing that. If you are not already in the Sim Racing Systems racing with us on Assetto Corsa, I would encourage you to head over to Sim Racing Systems and join us Thursday and Friday nights at 6 p.m. Wednesday night, we do a practice session where we see what we can do to learn the track, maybe improve our setup, and prepare for Thursday and Friday's races. Anyway, that is today's Sim Racing news. Thank you to the pit crew for being here, being part of the show, adding your input and thought. I guess tomorrow we'll answer the question on that driver for Fanatic, and does it work? The time zones, or what's going on with the Ricmotech Racing, and then hopefully a final answer on the cost of tracks and everything else on the rally version in iRacing. Hopefully we'll have all that on tomorrow's show, in addition to tomorrow's Sim Racing news. This is the Simpit. I'm Sean Cole, and I'll see you on the track.